All right, guys, so far we've talked about the aggregate demand curve, we've talked about the long run aggregate supply curve, and now we get to talk about the short run aggregate supply curve. In the short run, price level does affect the economy's output. In chapter 11, we talked a lot about how the money supply times velocity equals price times y, right? The price level, right, which is down here, and real variables, which is down here, right? Anyway, so basically what we said was, in the long run, if I increase the money supply, yes, I'll increase the price level, but that's not going to have any effect on Y. That's not going to have any effect on real variables. We called that monetary, you got it, neutrality. But what Keynes discovered from his theory, he basically discovered that in fact, when you do increase the money supply or you do increase the price level, that does impact real variables in the short run. In the long run, everything will be adjusted and then there won't be any effect. But in the short run, there will be an effect. And we get to explain all that coming right up here. But basically, if there's deflation for whatever reason, number one, if there's a decrease in the price level, if there's deflation, basically reduces the quantity of goods and services supplied in the short run. And so I can, as a Bank of Canada governor, for example, that has control over the money supply, I can print money, create an increase in the price level, and that will, at least in the short term, increase the amount of real GDP. That's powerful, right? So anyway, so why? Why? Why does this happen? Why does inflation, the increase in the price level, make people, firms sell more goods, produce and sell more goods? Why? Well, economists have three reasons why they think that price levels actually affect real variables in the short run. So let's examine all three of these, and all three of them have truth to it, okay? Now, we can argue about which one is more influential, absolutely, but when we look at the evidence, right, when we examine history and we can see what's gone on, yes, in fact, when there's a change in the price level and it does increase, right, we produce more goods and services. The question is why? Let's talk about that. So the first reason why the aggregate supply curve slopes upward in the short run is sticky wage theory. Basically, it says that nominal wages, how much you make, is often slow to adjust. In part, it's just due to the fact that a lot of corporations and companies are in a unionized environment and they have a collective agreement. And that collective agreement can last for 2 years and 3 years. So wages will never change unless and until there's another negotiation for the collective agreement. But even just taking out the idea of collective agreements and unionized environments, you have to admit that, it's pretty easy to predict that if there is deflation, we see widespread deflation, prices going down, a business owner may not necessarily very quickly reduce everybody's wages. Reducing people's wages might be one of the last things that they do, right? Anyways, so how does this cause the upward slope of the aggregate supply curve? Well, so in other words, why, when the price level goes up, do companies produce more output? Well, the answer is, an example is basically this. So if there is a price level that decreases, okay, price level goes down, that means businesses will often charge less for their products. But wages, which is an input to their production, stays the same. So the business becomes less profitable. And if the business becomes less profitable, they will produce less. So therefore, if P decreases, that equals the quantity of output decreases. The second reason why the aggregate supply curve slopes upward in the short run is basically sticky price theory. And it basically says that prices of some goods are slow to respond to changes in the economy. It could be because of menu costs. But for whatever reason, a lot of business owners don't change their pricing so quickly when it comes to price level changes, right? Inflation or deflation. They are slower to respond by lowering or increasing their prices. So as an example here, if the price level increases, in other words, we have inflation, but some businesses don't adjust, so their prices are lower relative to the competition or any substitutes in the market. So what's going to happen? Their prices are lower relative to the other things, so they're going to sell more. So therefore, we can see that, right, as the price level increases, the quantity of output being produced can increase in the short run. All right, so if you were a wheat farmer, what would you realize went up in price first? The price of bananas, the price of cars, the price of education, the price of margarine, or the price of wheat? You probably noticed that the price of wheat's going up first, right? So in other words, you're kind of getting confused here. During inflation, you kind of get confused about relative prices. And I mentioned that before. What's going up, right? So anyways, so we have misperceptions. If I'm a wheat farmer and I see the price of wheat going up, I'm thinking that wheat farming is becoming more profitable. So I produce more, right? Price level goes up, I produce more. Okay, but the thing is that the price of everything is going up. Even my inputs to the business are going up, like wages and gasoline and seeds and all the things I need as a wheat farmer to produce wheat is actually going up in value too. So I'm actually not making more money, right? But anyways, for me to clear that up, or there's an adjustment period. So anyways, in the short run, when the price level is going up, I see it as, hey, the price of one product is going up, and so I produce more, but in fact, the price of everything is going up. Anyways, so that's another example of why the aggregate supply curve slopes upward in the short run.